Hello, I am Yogurts building tips and tricks, and today in this video I'm going to talk about exterior design and how to make the outside of your house look good. Let's get started. The first step to detailing the exterior is just take a quick look around your house and think about what you can do. Right? Just think about what you want to do with it. I always like to think about, like, can I put like garden beds or like flowers on here? Can I put bushes? Can I put shutters? Like a lot of the things, the first thing I like to do is put shutters on my windows. It just makes it look a little bit better and adds a little bit of detail. So we're just gonna do that all the way around in every window. And the shutters can be made out of any block that you want. They can be spruce. Sometimes I like to use shelves. If you're not in the version with shelves, you can't use this, but these also look pretty good for shutters. I'm gonna use spruce trap doors. So now we have the shutters in. Also, this wasn't here last time. I put this little overhang sort of thing over this porch. That's one thing that you can do to make the porch look a lot better. So now we're gonna think about where can we like where can we put some gardens or some flowers. And a lot of the time, I like to put the gardens at the front of the house, below the windows. So I'm going to grab leaves. I always like to use azalea leaves, but you can use really any leaf that you like. Like even these mangrove leaves look pretty good, or you can use cherry leaves. But really any leaf that you particularly like, excuse me, particularly like, you can use. And I'm gonna grab some coarse dirt, and I'm going to use this dirt as sort of the bottom of it. So now I want the leaves to be right here. So I want to have them create this little square, and you're just gonna put this coarse dirt all the way in here. And then you're gonna put the leaves on top of the edge of this, right? And that'll create this little garden. And you can do the same thing on either side. And this is like a creativity thing. You don't have to do this. If you don't want to do this, there's a ton of different things. I will show a few different ways to just make the exterior of your house look just so much better than what we have here. Okay, now that you have these leaves in, we can take some flowers. Um, and I really like to use two tall flowers. Unfortunately, there isn't a lot. There's only 3 different types. I especially like the rose bushes. And then we can take some 1 block tall flowers, like this torch flower maybe, and how about some cornflowers and some poppies. So I like to put the tallest flowers on the back, and then you can kind of just, put these other flowers sort of wherever. And, or actually we're gonna take these torch flowers. Ah, I'm gonna put them right here. Right, I mean, you know, I'm in creative, so I have access to anything. These torch flowers I know are pretty difficult to get, so if you're just like kind of a beginner, I wouldn't use these torch flowers. I'd use more like flowers that you can find in like a forest and stuff. But look at that. See how that looks? We're gonna do the same thing on this side. Now we have two little gardens on either side, and we can continue. So the next part is these parts up here for the roof. They don't look amazing, right? They're pretty flat and pretty basic. So, what you can always do is add a little window to it. I don't know why I switched a window. You can add a little window of glass right there. You can put it there, and then you should have a little bit more, a little bit extra, and then you can do that the same thing all around. You can even make it 2 blocks tall, or you can make a little cross like that. I don't have enough space for that, but if you have a pretty large roof, you can do that. I think I'm just gonna do 1 block here again. We're gonna do that on all of these. So this one too. Make sure it's about roughly about the middle, as close as you can get. And you can even take the roof and extend it out a little bit. So if we take these spruce and like, I guess we can do this. All right, we can take this roof and shut out and have these, I forget what these are called, but these little things right here. Yeah, you can just take a look at what that looks like. You can do it differently. Like, let's see. You can do it a little bit differently. You can make it a little bit bigger. We're gonna do this. Right, we can do it like there, and then problem is these are really hard to make small, because then there's not a lot of space in the middle. But see, right, and then we take, and then we connect it to the rest of it. Like this. And then we can put a window in here. And then open planks. Like that. And then we have a little coconut part. Right, and then there's 2 different designs you can do. That's one thing that just takes a lot of experimenting, and just a lot to think about. Because building is never a step-by-step. It's never the same thing over and over again. It's always you try something new and do a ton of different ways of building. Okay, so now let's look at the porch out in front of here. The first thing I like to do is I like to put coarse dirt underneath where the porch is, and make it look like, you know, there's never going to be a lot of light under here, so the grass isn't really going to grow. So I'm just going to add some coarse dirt, and then I'm going to rebuild it. And then you can either put stairs here, or you can put slabs. I like to have slabs, so it's a little bit more gradual, and it looks a little bit better. But either or, it looks pretty good. Right, and then we can take some fences, so like an oak fence, so it kind of stands out, and put it on here, like that. And then, you know, a little lantern. Oops. Right. You can hang a little lantern there, another one there. You can even put it on that. We can add some windows to this wall. Yeah, let's add some windows to here. This little front wall. And then let's add a little windowsill, or like thing in front of here, and then we can grab some. We can grab some potted plants, some pots, and your favorite flower. I'm gonna do an orange tulip, and you can just put them on here. There. And also, trees also work in potted plants, so you can always do a tree. Or what we can do is, I might actually even, to add a little bit more detail, I'm gonna grab these pots, these decorative pots, and I'm just gonna put one, maybe out in front, like this, right? Gives it a little bit more detail, like it's being used, like this house has been used, and maybe these are like bags or something, right? And we can even put some coarse dirt under here. Coarse dirt is kind of hard to get, but if you can find a savanna somewhere, savannas usually have a lot of it. And now we're just gonna add a little path in front. You can do just like a regular path like this. I'm not gonna do this, but I'll show you how this looks. You can do this if you just want to use a shovel. Right, it still looks pretty good, and it's pretty easy to do. Or you can make like a gravel path. Like I've done a gravel path. I've done that path in my builds. I'm gonna show you what a gravel path can look like. And with gravel paths, I usually like to add like stone and cobblestone. You know, these things. So basically, whenever you're like, so for my paths, you fill it in with the first block when you're mixing stuff, and then you just kind of scatter it around. It's just random. It doesn't have to be any particular order or way of doing it. You can just do it however. And then it's a little bit more pathy, you know? A little bit more like it's been used. Right, and now we have that little gravel path. Or you can even do like a dirt path, which does use a lot of coarse dirt. And you can't, I don't think you can put dirt in the middle of this without it spreading into grass. But you can use like different brown blocks. Like you can use mud, or not mud, because mud is gonna be too dark. But you can maybe use spruce, like strip spruce wood, to sort of. Dirt paths are kind of difficult to make because there's not a lot of brown blocks that really like are the same color. Like I have this little mod that is a color picker, excuse me. I can use this. That's a pretty similar color maybe. But it's concrete powder. Yeah, I mean this could work to sort of mix in a little bit. Make it look a little bit better. A little bit more used again, right? But yeah, there's 3 different paths you can use. I'm gonna use a gravel path because I like the way it looks. But yeah, you could just use really any path that you want. Just takes a lot of thinking and experimenting and trying, right? I like to do a lot of different, like, try a lot of new things on, like, a survival or a creative world. Yeah, but there's a path that you can do, and then you can, like, make it go all the way around, Um, there's always building trees. I'm not very good at building trees, so I'm not really going to explain how to build a tree because I don't know how to do it at the moment. I'm still learning. No, it's always you're always trying to learn how to do everything. Um, yeah, you're just always learning. So, but yeah, if you know how to if you know how to build trees, whatever. Otherwise, you can just take saplings and just place them around and let them grow. Or if your house is even in a forest, that can work. Um, you can also like add other buildings to your thing. Like I like to do like maybe a horse stables, right? To make a horse stable, we'll place three sections, um, each about 3 blocks wide, and we're gonna build these logs up 4 blocks, right? And we're gonna take them back, or actually, we're gonna make these 5 blocks, connect them at the top. It's a very similar building process to how I did the house. Now we're gonna bring it back. Or actually, first, before we bring it back, we're gonna take slabs and we're gonna make a little roof that's slanting down, and then we're going to do this. Building, there are so many different things that you can do. You don't have to do a horse stable. I'll show a few other things that you can build outside of your house. Like a farm, you can do a farm. You can do a little farm, which is probably pretty necessary if you are in survival mode and you want to have food. A farm is pretty good, an animal farm too. Steak is probably one of the best early game sources of food. And also it gives you the bonus of leather, which means that you can get an functional enchanting table in the future with a bunch of bookshelves. Okay, so I've got this horse stable built up. It's pretty basic. These things aren't really too hard to make. I did have to do a little bit of, I didn't like it when it didn't have this overhang. It looked really, really weird. So I put this overhang on and it made it look so much better. Again, experimenting, trying things. Always try things. Always experiment. Failure is the best way to learn. I shouldn't say that. Mistakes are the best way to learn. If something doesn't look good, try it again. And just keep trying. Keep trying everything that you can think of. Again, this is a very creative game. And everything is based off of what you like. This is your build. So you don't even have to follow any of this. You can do whatever. But this is just what I do. And I'm putting fences in the middle and then putting these fence gates here. And then I like to use Podzol. I don't know, there it is. Yeah, Podzol. Podzol. I don't know how to say it. As the floor. So it kind of looks good for... Because it's been trampled on. There's probably a lot of mud in here and other things. So you just fill in the floors, the bottom of this with Podzol. Oops. Yeah, and then front of these fences, I think I'm gonna do coarse dirt again because I like it. It's just dirt, but it's a little different. Please ignore this purple box. It's just a mod that I have. It's a schematics mod. It's really annoying. I gotta change some controls, but Um, yeah, and then we can add some hay bales in here. Like this. Like one in every thing. Doesn't really matter where they are in here. And then we can add some lanterns. I love lanterns because they look nice and they are easy to make. You don't have to go to the nether or anything for them. There are some lanterns, and that's a horse stable. And then we can add a path that kind of just comes around, like we can just take a shovel, right? Doesn't really matter what shovel. Just like as if it's like a desired path, right? You're gonna walk around here a lot, but you may not like build a path specifically for this, but you walk around a lot. So, sort of a sort of desired path that you can just make. It really isn't that hard. It does take a lot out of your shovel, because you're just using it so much. So if you have enchantments, that's always really good. And it'll make it much better. And then you can have like a back porch, like back here. I mean, I guess right back here, there's not a lot of space. But we can make a little back door right here. Right, let's just break this window. A little back, let's add a little back door. Maybe 2 windows on either side of here, and then we can build a little porch back here. Right? And then we have this little thing here, and now we can build up this. Or, no, we can just keep it like this, right? And then we put some fences on top of here. Oops. Like this. I forgot to put the bottom as coarse dirt. There. Little porch. We can put some glass panes in the freaking windows. Put some glass panes in the windows, right? Take some chairs, right? You can make a little, maybe birch, or I don't like birch. Maybe jungle. Let's do mangrove. I am in creative again, so I'm using blocks that you may not have in survival, like mangrove, which is really annoying to get and really hard to find. But I'm using it because I like it. Adds a little bit more of a pop of color. But yeah, you can do whatever block you think looks good because it's your own house. It's your house. Now I'm gonna add a farm. We're going to put a little bit. We're gonna make a little sort of overhang right here. and we're gonna put a bunch of like farm supplies in this. Now we have this little overhang sort of storage thing where we can put a bunch of storage supplies underneath here, or a bunch of farming supplies, or we can put hay bales to keep them from the rain. So like for like use of the cow, or sorry, the horses. We could put some barrels in here, right? We could put a barrel. We can even take those pots, these pots right here, and these could be like, maybe these are bags of soil, right? They look like bags. This part you can do a bunch of different things here. Like we can put a composter here. Oops. Put a little composter here. Now I'm gonna talk about building a farm. The farm is usually most certainly dependent on the terrain you're in. So I'm gonna go into a different world with an example of what a farm can be. So in this clip, I accidentally muted my microphone, so there is no audio. So I'm recording over it. Currently, this is my farm that I built in my survival world. There's like a general there's a general potato farm at the very bottom. Right, it's in like this. It's this cut out into this hill. Sorry, that I dug out, and then I put this retaining wall on it. And then there's a sugar cane, and then there's a pumpkin and watermelon farm, and then the building to the right there, that big shed, is that's a storage room for the food, and then the tall one with the glass is a bamboo farm. It's a redstone bamboo farm. And that's my farm in my survival world. So that is how you build the exterior of your house, the gardens, like a horse stable, a lot of different things. In my next video, I'm going to talk about the interior and what goes into interior design and style. And then after that, I'm going to show you a bunch of examples of houses I have built that shows creativity, shows the many different things that you can do to build a house. And thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.